Let me tell you the story of what had to be the most ambitious open-world action game ever that almost released, more than a decade ago in 2009. I'm talking about the cancelled 8 Days project. I already talked about it almost a year ago, but the game has since then received exclusive interviews with its developers about why everything that happened actually happened. My god, this game would have been something else if it had released during that time, I tell you. A lot of people remember 8 Days only as being the game that clickbaited GTA 5 fans, as at the time, 8 Days wasn't really known to the public, even though being one of the biggest projects, so people used images as well as footage to get people thinking it is actual GTA 5 gameplay. It was actually pretty convincing since 8 Days looked great graphically and showed open world elements, but of course this was all just clickbait. Announced way back during Sony's 2006 E3 press conference, 8 Days was an amazing look at what the 7th generation of consoles was capable of. 8 Days was part of Sony's massive own studios, and with this game wanted to rival the biggest blockbusters of any kind in terms of action, production, and star power. It was big, bombastic, and literally positioned as the future of AAA video games. That's a pretty ambitious thing they wanted to do here. First of all, the game's setting was to be set in the course of 8 days and around 8 states in the United States, which would have been the largest game map of all time, even to this day, despite the games with open universe stuff. A massive open world game with 8 states, each with their own unique locations and missions. It also would have included a real life clock for the whole game. The developers were planning on using the real-time clock for the PS3, which add your time zone when the console is on, and then introduce it in-game. For example, if you were playing at daytime in real life, then the game would be set in daytime too, and if you were playing at the night, the game would be set at the night as well. I don't think I've seen this gameplay element in any massive game over the past years, but I might be wrong though, so let me know in the comments. I think using real-time in-game would have been something extremely unique, even though I know some people wouldn't like this. In real life, some people come home from work late at night, thus would only be able to play in nighttime. In 8 Days, the player when first starting the game would have the ability to pick between two characters, one that is a good person, like a part of the cops, and one that is not, like a criminal. These two would be set in different stories. The good storyline would focus on a mob syndicate after his son had been kidnapped, and the bad storyline is the same as above, but taking revenge on that mob syndicate instead. The two characters eventually end up crossing paths and will work together, which can be seen here in this gameplay video. Of course, that never happened. 2 years after its announcement in 2006, it was ultimately cancelled by Sony because of a 50-50% problem. First, it was said to be way too ambitious and couldn't be fully created in a certain amount of time, and secondly, Sony wanted to push online elements at that time with the PS3 console, and 8 Days wasn't mainly about that. In a new interview on Polygon.com about the cancellation of 8 Days, 5 of the developers reunited to talk about their hopes for it and what went wrong. It is said at the beginning of production, the studio wasted no time pitching prospective employees on 8 Days, positioning the game as a high-budget interactive action film, where, as principal animator Jim Jagger recalls, players will blaze a trail of destruction across America in the ultimate Hollywood action movie experience. It was geared towards putting the player in the greatest action movie that had ever been made, Jim said. It also looked to bring on star power for the project. Ving Rhames signed on to star as one of the main characters of the game, and was featured in a later trailer, with actors Dennis Hopper and Gary Oldman brought on board to play the game's antagonist. The studio also approached John Travolta and Halle Berry for other characters, though because of the game's cancellation, none of it came to life, of course. While the narrative conceit of the game taking place across 8 days was set in place, developers say they never got far enough in development to choose exactly which states the player would go to into the world. Set pieces were supposed to be the main draw of the game, but again the team never got far enough in development to nail down all the specific events the player would experience. There was the dinner that showed up in the E3 2006 demo, a prison break, and a shootout outside a gas station that resulted in a helicopter chase, with the two main characters hanging from a bank safe as it crashed through a freeway. 8 Days was reportedly a year off from being in a beta state, which wasn't that far when you think about it, so the hit of the cancellation was a bit hard for the studio. Despite their trials and tribulations developing 8 Days, a lot of people on the team were passionate about the project, and a lot of people were laid off, unfortunately. I'm really hoping Sony or any other game company uses this idea in a future game, and with the next generation of console approaching very fast, now would be the best time to start working on it. Alright guys, for more videos on cancelled games like this, make sure you drop a like on this video and subscribe to stay tuned. Thanks to Joe Morris, Jigglyboy and I Am Legend for being a master member on the channel. You can become a Survivor member for 99 cents only. It'll help me and the channel as a whole. Thanks for watching.